Alright, so this is going to be my review of Shang-Chi. I just got in the door after watching it. And it's directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. It's the newest MCU movie. And I'll say how I feel about it in a little bit. So, Sean, or Shang-Chi, in this movie is the main character, um, played by Simu Louis. I don't, I'm trying not to butcher these names. I'm probably butchering them anyway. And Katie, his friend, played by Aquafina, they're both valets, and they don't really have much going on. And then they get attacked on a bus. Um, and Shang-Chi shows that he's like this really great fighter, and it's because his father is actually the Mandarin in this movie, who is thousands of years old and uses these powerful 10 rings. And he even runs this group called the 10 Rings. Shang-Chi and his sister, their mother, met him while he was trying to get some kind of power from their mother's village. And so now he's trying to get to that village again because he's, for whatever reason, hearing their mother, their dead mother now, her voice coming from from that area where her village is. So I thought the movie was fine. It's got a lot going for it. Like I really like the main character of Shang Chi. I like him. I like his relationship with his sister, relationship with Katie, Aquafina's character. He comes off as likable, and the fight scenes. I mean, he's great in them, and the fight scenes just in and of themselves are easily the best part of this whole movie. Like easily. I mean, these fight scenes are great. After rewatching Iron Fist over the past couple days, which is awful, especially the fights and the choreography, the martial arts. Seeing this, I mean, it is so great. I mean, some of the best fights in all of the MCU, easily. It's great. I mean, all these different locations that they're fighting in, whether it be that village or there's a part where they're outside this building and they're like falling from this place to this place. I mean, it's great. The choreography is amazing. They also, when they do get to this other village, it's beautiful. I mean, and there's all these different creatures and things like that. It's really interesting. It really is able to set itself apart from the other movies because of its, Asian influence and things like that. Even though the MCU formula is still very much there. We'll talk about that in a second. The rings were cool. I thought they were. It's a cool power. I mean, it could have been fleshed out a little bit more, but that gets into some other stuff. And mostly the characters, other than one, which I'll talk about in a second, and there's another one that I kind of have some issues with, are all great, and I can't wait to see them again. There's kind of a mid-credit scene with Shang-Chi and Katie, Aquafina's character, that really gets me interested to see where his character is going to go in the future of the MCU. But as far as narratively, there's still some issues here. And I guess we're getting into negatives. The story feels very rushed, and there's a lot of exposition. It's a lot, and it was hard for me to keep it all straight in my head. Right, like there's a lot of it doesn't feel like it has enough development. It's almost to the point where certain parts of the movie are missing. It just doesn't really spend much time developing them beforehand before they actually go on this kind of journey that they're going on. A lot of it is kind of all over the place with the time period because certain things get revealed at certain times during the movie, and like having flashbacks and stuff like that. That's one thing, but to like have them just keep popping up, and it makes the movie not flow as well. I've always not liked that in movies. Yeah, there's a point where Aquafina picks up a bow and arrow, and then before you know it, she's shooting she's shooting them right on the target. It's like this is the first time she's ever shot a bow and arrow. Like, and that happens with other stuff too. It just feels like everything's just kind of going so quick. We just need to get to the next thing. The father's motivation with hearing the mother's voice was kind of ridiculous to me for a main motivation for your villain. Didn't really Wasn't really much. And the final little part with it, it's cool. It has a lot of things going on, but it's a little chaotic. That final climactic battle at the end. Um, the MCU style, and it might be because I'm a reviewer and I've seen all of them. I haven't reviewed all of them, but I've reviewed a good bit, and definitely seen them all at least, most of them at least twice. So the formula of the MCU, I get it, is successful, but it's getting to the point where it's a little bit stale. Like the comedy is very forced. The movie feels like it has to stop dead for comedy. Aquafina's character feels like she's out of place because she's doing almost like sitcom level comedy. She's the same character in pretty much everything I see her in. I liked her in Crazy Rich Asians, but with this and Ryan the Last Dragon, it feels like she's just the same character, and her comedy just doesn't really work all that well in these movies for me. There's another character, and I was immediately pissed off when I saw him. And I'm gonna actually spoil this. Sir Ben Kingsley comes back as the fake Mandarin, right? They're finally doing the Mandarin somewhat justice, and they decide to bring his ass back in here. A lot of people don't understand that it's more than just changing the comic books for that character. It's because it was a just really lame and cringy scene that was just awful, and it's just them forcing bad comedy into their movies. Not all these movies have to be comedies. The movie really does stop dead for him to do this little comedy bit with him and this creature and all these other things. And he's more than just a cameo. Like, there's other MCU characters that are most definitely just a cameo, right? But not him. He's a full-on character, and the audience was laughing, so I'll give it that, but I was not. I love these locations. I love the creatures and stuff like that. I really like a lot of this movie, but the overall storytelling for me just doesn't really work all that well. Just it just doesn't. And by the end of it, I was like, yeah, I'm interested to see where the characters go, but I don't think I really need to see this movie again, other than those amazing fight scenes. So I'm gonna give this a good enough. It doesn't really rise to any level of greatness. Like, I saw somebody wrote an article, I think, that said this movie was the best movie in the MCU. It is not, by no means. I don't know what that person was talking about. But anyway, that's Shang-Chi. Like, subscribe, all of the good stuff, and we're done.